All right, so good morning, everyone. I believe that we can slowly start. My name is Petr Švec. I'm Channel Development Manager in Safetica, and I'll be delivering this webinar together with Jan Lakatoš, our Product Manager, who will have, well, a substantial part of the whole thing. The expectation for length of this webinar is approximately 45 minutes, depending on the agenda of this. So first of all, we will introduce the Safetycam 9.8 product line. We have decided to do certain changes in our licenses because we see that the market is reaching into certain direction where different customers prefer to have different features. And for us, it's then it's quite difficult to try to cover this with just one type of DLP license. So we will cover this in more detail. We'll also introduce some new improved incident detection features. So from the new version, we can now detect sensitive data in new wholesome ways. I'm very happy to see how it goes. If you have any questions for that. Then regarding improved investigation and response, there is some new features like, we improved the shadow copy, for instance, and some other stuff. As always, we will also share the roadmap highlights, which means, like every time we want to tell you what we're working on, what can you expect, and well, we'll cover this into more detail. At the end, we will answer or try to answer all of your questions. I'd like to ask you, in case that you will have any question during the webinar, please submit it into the GoToWebinar application, and then, as mentioned, we will try to cover most of these questions at the end. One more information, at the end we also prepared a poll for you, so you'll be allowed to vote in it. And in the past, there were some technical issues for few people who weren't able to cast their vote. So in case this would happen, I'd like to ask you to exit the full screen, and there I hope there shouldn't be any issues whatsoever. So with that, I'd like to pass the word to Jan, and he will cover the main new topics that we have prepared. Thank you so much for your attention.
Hello, this is Jan from Safetica. I'm a product manager, and if you watched our previous webinars, I was the one guiding you through them. Today I'll do the same for Safetica 9.8, titled Efficient Detection and Investigation. The new version brings a few changes and some great new features. But before we dive into those, I would like to share with you some news. And the news is that we are introducing new types of products to use our solution. Our product line so far was very basic. One could say it was too basic. We had Safetica Auditor to address auditing use cases, to get a broad overview over your company, to identify the biggest problems. And then you could use Safetica DLP to maybe do a deeper audit, including information about sensitive data. And then once you had that, you could move on to real protection and imposing some restrictions in the environment. Safetycam Mobile is an additional module. You can purchase it to address some security concerns on your mobile devices. It was an extra thing that you could purchase, but there were only two products to choose from. The new product line complicates this a little bit. However, it makes each of the solution easier to understand and to use. And maybe I'll switch here so that you can see the differences between every product. Now we have Safetica Discovery, which allows you to do a comprehensive company audit, because now it also allows you to specify and find sensitive data. So this was something missing from Auditor, but now with the new Safetica Discovery, you will be able to create a very comprehensive company overview, which includes information about users, about software, about hardware, and also about the data, which is a very critical part of data security. Then you can move on to protection with Safetica Protection, which allows you to manage and address some of the incidents happening in the company. You can create DLP policies, you can create some security restrictions to actually get the data under control and maybe create the first barriers in the environment to achieve the state of data security that you are aiming for. And then you can take Safetica Enterprise, which also includes the same things that are in discovery and protection, but it adds some expert settings. It helps you cover use cases specific to enterprise environments, and it also allows you to automate some of the manual work by integrating Safetica with your other solutions so that Safetica really becomes a part of your enterprise security stack. So these are the three products that you can choose from, and on top of this you can choose from two extra modules to expand on the functionality. You can choose the new extra module Safetica UEBA, where UEBA stands for User and Entity Behavior Analysis, which allows you to maybe dig deeper and get more detailed information about user behavior. And you can use Safetycam Mobile to expand on the protection and get a mobile device management solution for Android and iOS devices. So this is the new product line. I'm sure you may have more questions, but I would like to refer you to our website, safetyca.com, where if you click the products button on the top, you will be taken to a new overview over the products where every product is compared to others in detail. You can expand all these sections, and if you hover over these I buttons, every line is described in detail. In case this still doesn't help you, feel free to get in touch with either your partner or your Safetica vendor, and they will surely answer the questions. If not, there is also a contact to our headquarters at the end of this presentation where you can contact us directly and we'll help you understand the new products in detail. But before we still move on to specific product features that are added in the new version, let me just quickly show you how one of these new products looks like in practice. I will show you an environment where I have Safetica Discovery running along with the UEBA features. So let me just switch to my first virtual environment today. And, okay, spoiler here. So this is the Safetica desktop console, and you can see maybe already that the two main modules have been renamed. What was previously known as audit has been renamed to discovery, and the DLP module is now known as protection. This is really just a cosmetic change to let the customers or users understand what is actually included in their product. So if I purchase a protection license, I will have discovery and protection. In this case, I only have discovery, so it's understandable that protection is empty and the features otherwise available here are not included. So if I switch to discovery now, the important change here that I want to show you is found under function settings. And here, along with all the previously available features, such as turning on application audit, device audit, website audit, and so on, I now have the option to specify outgoing sensitive data. So if I click this sensitive data button, I'm taken to this probably familiar view where I can specify data categories. So if you've used our product before, data categories are groups that allow you to differentiate between sensitive information. So you can create a data category that describes a specific group of sensitive information, such as personal information, financial data, internal documents, and so on and so on. So even with the discovery product, you are able to specify as many data categories as you wish. If I go into the data category section, I can specify as many detection rules as I wish. I can use either the predefined sensitive content options where I can easily just turn on identifiers important to me, or I can specify my own custom expressions, either keywords or regular expressions, and I can also import my own keyword dictionaries which allow me to work with large databases of keywords which might be important in my environment. So there is no difference between any of the product. These data category settings are available for all Safetica customers starting from now, and you will be able to do a more comprehensive security audit thanks to this feature included within the Safetica Discovery product. This is the biggest change. It's really just a setting, but it will allow you to more accurately assess the environment and to create a more detailed audit. If I move on to this files section for a little moment, I want to show you that there is a new column here that you can take advantage of. You can see I have lots of logs here. Actually, not so much, but in practice I could have really lots and lots of logs here. And using the data category filter, I could easily just look for financial information, such as like this, that would filter all the logs that were relevant or related to financial information. So really a powerful feature when you want to do a comprehensive audit. When it comes to UEBA features, I would like to move on to the web console where these are better visible. So you may notice some small, again, cosmetic changes here in the web console. The IT utilization module or section has been renamed to Workspace because now it includes all information related to Workspace. So if you want to find out about the company Workspace and how it's used, you can visit this section. You will find information here about what kind of applications and websites are used in your environment. You can then use application or web control to block some undesired apps and webs from being used. You will see also the usage of hardware, the printers, the network, all the information important and related to Workspace. In the data security section, you will see all the information related to data. And again, just the same way as in the desktop console, you will now be able to create sensitive data filters and data category filters over your data, even if you are only using Safetica Discovery. And the features related to UEBA product are now included all within the behavior analysis section, where I can get a very detailed overview of every user which is running in my or which is acting in my environment. So here you can see I only have one user. I have some information about them here. I can also check user activity to get a detailed overview of what every user is doing and how they are maybe acting within the environment. I can also follow some trends to see changes in behavior, and also information about email are included here so that I get very detailed user behavior information related to email here. So this is the UEBA license. In case you are wondering, hey, I was using Safetica DLP before, I had behavior analysis in Web Safetica. Will it still be there? Yes, for existing users still using our existing products, nothing is changing. If you had a feature available, it will still be available after you update to version 9.8. So don't worry, everything will be where you would expect it. Maybe to this topic we will come in a few moments, where I will switch to a different environment where you will see how an existing product looks like after the update. So stay tuned. But with this, let me switch back to the presentation and let's get to the real topics of Safetica 9.8 and what they are bringing to the product as new features. So we are adding sensitive data detection for outgoing data to network file shares. This was something that many of you were asking for. Finally, I can tell you that it's here. In case you are copying data to network file shares, we will be able to scan them for sensitive information and include this within the log of the operation. And in case you want to protect this, you can of course create policies for this. Another powerful new thing that we are adding is a new type of data category for file attributes, which allows you to create policies for files which have a similar attribute. We are not speaking about content of the file, but attribute. In the first version, we are allowing you to specify file type as an attribute, which allows you to very easily protect specific file types or even file type categories, such as multimedia files, with a simple data category. And if you wish, you can also create a policy to protect these kind of data with a certain policy. Many of our users are also moving to Office 365 solutions. Really, the migration is very, very rapid, and many of our customers are either thinking about this or already running Office 365. Many of these customers are also moving to using Azure Information Protection labels, which allow you to very easily label documents and assign them a specific classification. In case you were using AIP, in an encrypted format, Safetica was not able to detect the label from these encrypted files, but with the new version, we are now able to read labels also from encrypted files. So in case this is something you are dealing with in your environment, after the update, Safetica will be able to recognize all these labels and respond to them appropriately. And in case you are using macOS, I have good news to you. We are still working on Mac, and we have added new data flow channels to be checked. And now we have more granular information about uploads, sending files via instant messengers, and some other operations. So this is all about incident detection, but the topic of the version was incident detection and investigation. So let's have a look at what's related to investigation. And I hope this is very good news to many of you who have been asking about shadow copy. So shadow copy is now a regular feature, a functionality available in Safetycam. It allows you to create copies of files involved in incidents so that you can download these files later and check them, whether they really contain sensitive information, what kind of information was actually part of the incident, so that you can better assess what was happening during the incident. Really powerful feature, and I'm very excited to share that it's finally in the product. In case you are wondering whether it's part of your product too, for existing customers, please let us know that you would like to use it. And for new customers, shadow copy will be included with both protection and enterprise products. So any of our protection or enterprise customer will be able to take advantage of this shadow copy functionality. And related to response, a little bit of technical debt that we caught up on is file operations on Windows portable devices. These are devices using the multimedia transfer protocol, such as smartphones or multimedia devices like cameras, maybe video cameras if you are still using them. And if you use such devices, Safetica was previously only able to either block them altogether or allow them altogether. But now with the new version, you will be able to control specific data, either leaving there or blocking them to leave on Windows portable devices. So these are the new changes of the new version. It's just a list, so let's take a look at something more real life. Let's switch to a virtual environment and see these things in action. So this is a different environment. You can see that I have some extra bells and whistles here. This is how your product will look like after you update to version 9.8 and you previously had a Safetica DLP license. So you were used to having 3 modules here. They are still here. Supervisor is also available here. For new users, we guide them to use application and web control in Web Safetycam. So we'll still find the functionality, it's just in a different console. And for print control, we have prepared a very detailed knowledge base article which will help you replicate the features available here with other Safetica features so that you can maybe use other features and have everything consolidated there rather than using print settings in a separate setting somewhere differently from protection. Regardless, let's switch to protection where the changes will be most prominent. And under protection, I will switch to data categories. So this is the same data category view as you've previously seen, but now I'm using it in protection. And here, let me try to create a new data category, which I will have to specify. I will specify a new data category for file properties or file attributes, and I will just leave it like this. Let's see what's included in the settings. So here, if I turn this on, you can see I already have a pre-selected option here. And it says file types incompatible with Safetica sensitive data detection. What is this? Well, you may imagine that Safetica is able to scan certain files for sensitive information. We can evaluate whether the text is or isn't sensitive. But some file types just don't allow this. Something like a multimedia file is a problem. And if you want to create a protection or maybe have some insight into how these files, which cannot be scanned, are used, you can use this setting. Very similar setting, but related not to sensitive data detection, but to our Safetica metadata technology, which allows you to classify files, assign them specific classification manually or automatically. You can also create an extra setting here to cover all the other use cases which cannot be covered by our metadata technology. So let me just leave the first setting here. So I will create a data category. Maybe I'll name it. I'll name it unscannable file types so that it's more descriptive. I'll just save this to change the name. So this is one data category I created, and maybe I'll create one more, and again it will be file properties, but I will call it multimedia. Sorry about the typo, multimedia. There we go. And I'll configure the data category, and in this case I'll choose custom, and I'll try to add extensions. So maybe I want to cover MP4 files, like videos. Maybe I want to cover MP3 files, but maybe that's not enough and I need more categories. So I can also choose the category of audio files, maybe also choose image files and video files. And with this, I've created a data category which will now be searchable, and I can also create a policy for it. So let's try to create a policy. I don't have much policies in this environment, only a base policy and a sensitive data policy, so let's try to create a new one. And I'll call this multimedia policy there. And I'll choose the data category type which I have just specified. And here you can already see some new things. Here you see a setting for shadow copy. So as you can see, shadow copy is a setting within DLP policies. It can be set regardless of the policy mode. So whether I choose a notify mode, log only mode, or blocking mode, I can create shadow copies. Whatever you choose from, shadow copy is here. And maybe I don't want to block multimedia. Maybe I just want to notify users about multimedia files being used. All these channels are okay. I will also create shadow copies, even though it's probably not a good idea to create shadow copies of large video files. But for the sake of example, let's leave it like that. And under customize, I will also show you this new setting for network file share. So you can also create a setting for network file share. And you can also see that zones are included. So in case you want to create different policies or different behavior for different file shares, you can categorize them within zones and just use the zone setting to act upon that. And with next, I'll just choose my whole Safetycam environment and I'm finished. I'll just move the policy a little higher and I'm set up. So now I've created a new policy which will create shadow copies. It will notify the users every time they are sending out a multimedia file, and all these channels will be protected. So hopefully this shows you what kind of settings are available. But maybe one more thing that I would show you is how shadow copy works once you want to investigate it. So let's imagine I created a policy and it already creates some shadow copies. They are stored on the endpoints and I want to investigate an incident. So I will go to DLP logs Let me just minimize the charts part here. Okay, and here I've already prepared some incidents from before. So you can see here I have some incidents that happened. I had some email, web upload, and I have a new column which specifies shadow copy, whether there is a copy available or not. So you can see that for these operations I didn't have shadow copy set up, but here for this I had actually a policy called upload with shadow copy, and it created the shadow copy. If I click details, I only see some information about the incident, but if I really want to get a hold of this confidential document .docx, I will just simply create this button, and you can see I have this new red task created. After I confirm it, it's being downloaded. I will wait a few moments, and in a short while it will be downloaded, and I will be able to open the file and investigate it on my own administrator computer, and I will be able to assess whether the incident which is included here was really a positive sensitive data incident, or whether it contains some false positives. And yeah, it will help me understand what the situation was all about. So this is the shadow copy functionality. You will be able to read all about the functionality in a knowledge base article that we've prepared for you. So if you have questions, you will be able to find the answers there. So hopefully this covers all the significant changes that are in the product. So let's switch back to the presentation. Here, finally, you have a list of some other notable changes in the version. I wouldn't like to go in depth with all of them, but I'll comment on Safetycam Mobile. You may remember that in Safetica 9.6, which was the last public version, we introduced enterprise mobility management support for Android devices. Now we have completed that transition, and you are also able to take advantage of the fully managed device mode, which is available within that enterprise mobility management. And I just wanted to highlight that in case you have Android 10 devices in your environment, or you plan to upgrade to such devices, it's maybe a good idea to update Safetica to use this fully managed device mode, because it's the primarily supported mode from that Android version onwards. And in case you stay with other modes, they will be slowly deprecated, and they will have a legacy approach within Android. So it might be a good idea to take advantage of the new feature that we are also bringing with Safetica 9.8. The other features you can all read about, but now finally for my part, I would like to go through some roadmap highlights related to topics that we are working on actively and that you can expect in the next version that we'll probably introduce at some point in 2021. So we are working on user justification of DLP blocked actions. You can imagine this as DLP blocking a user operation and the user having the possibility to override such blocking and performing the action anyway, with giving some justification for why they are performing the action. We are also working on enhancing our content inspection technology. We want to make it also multi-platform, so it wouldn't run only on Windows anymore. And related to that, we are also prototyping OCR for content inspection with files which don't have text information but more image information. You can imagine this as a scanned PDF with an agreement or some kind of invoice. We would be able to scan the text from the picture information and decide whether that information is sensitive or not. We are also preparing an API for reporting purposes. So in case you are using a reporting service from a third party, you will be able to connect it to Safetica through the new API to get the data from Safetica and use that reporting service to create more advanced reporting and maybe tailor your reports more to your liking. And finally, we are also working on Microsoft 365 integration. We really see the shift to these services with our customers. So we want to support the use cases, and we would just want to deepen our already existing integration. You could see that we added support for encrypted AIP classification, and there are some other use cases that we want to address this way. So you can expect these features coming soon in our future versions. And with this, hopefully you liked the new version, and the rest of the webinar I leave to my colleague. So I'm giving the word back to the first presenter. Thank you.
For today, that will be it. So I'd like to thank you so much for your trust in our team, for your cooperation with us, for your interest in our product. I hope that we still have the COVID situation here, so I like to wish you that all of you stay safe, and your families as well, and your colleagues. And I guess we'll see each other on the next webinar with the version 10 of Safetica, which will be quite huge. So thanks again, and have a great rest of the week for everyone.